The big two things that are required are deal flow, which is the number of leads and quality deals you have access to, and available cash, whether that be from your bank account or from friends, family, or colleagues through private money lending relationships. The Begin to 10 podcast is for newer real estate investors that want to learn how to grow to closing 10 deals every year. My name is Josh Chapman, and I was able to scale from 0 to over 250 properties in 2 years. And in this podcast, I will share with you some of the most beneficial principles I've learned in my real estate journey. Welcome to the Begin to 10 podcast. I'm your host, Josh Chapman. In episode 17, I will answer a common question that I get a lot of time where people ask me how much money they need to get started in real estate investing. This is not an easy question to answer with just one single answer. So in this episode, I'm going to create a couple hypothetical scenarios that I would say most new real estate investors are in, and then answer this question for each scenario. Scenario number one, we have a guy named Fred that has no education about real estate investing. He's just getting started out. He has little money to get started with. Scenario number two, we have Jane. She inherited 2 properties from her parents. She sees the value in investing in more real estate. Jane also doesn't have much money to get started. Scenario number 3, we have a guy named Bill who does have some knowledge in real estate investing because he's read a few books and he's listened to some podcasts like Begin to 10 over the last year. Bill is starting out with $25,000 in the bank, and he'd like to use that money to get started. So you may not exactly fit in the description of Fred, Jane, or Bill, but there's likely some similarities that you can identify to one of them. Okay, so we're going to start out with Fred. Fred's friend is a successful investor and has given Fred the inspiration to get started. His friend told him that he didn't have to have much money to begin, so Fred wants to jump in. How much money does Fred need? I'd recommend that he start off by buying a couple of books. Refer to the previous episode, episode 16, where I go over a list of 5 good books to get started with. He also needs to find some YouTube channels or podcasts to listen to. Fred should spend a month or 2 months becoming more educated about real estate. Fred's probably going to spend somewhere between $50 and $100 on books and things to help out with education. Fred will need to use private money lenders because he doesn't have access to any cash. A private money lender is a friend or a family member or a colleague that will loan Fred the money for a short period of time to buy one deal and fix it up. He needs to start having conversation with his circle to see who might be able to work with him. Also, Fred will need to start working on finding a good deal because he will need to go to the bank after he buys the property and fixes it up to refinance at the bank in order to pay the private money lender off. So in terms of a good deal, Fred needs to be all in no more than 80% of the final appraised value in order for the bank loan to completely pay off the private money lender. He can set up notifications on Zillow or Realtor.com to get deals that are listed on the MLS, or he might even contact a realtor friend that sets him up on notifications that come in that meet his criteria. But Fred, his best bet would be to generate seller leads himself through his own efforts. He can drive for dollars, which means he drives around in his local community and finds distressed properties, and then he contacts the owners of those properties. He can contact them through postcards, through text messages, phone call, or even just go knock on the door. Fred needs to try his best to have as many conversations as possible with owners of distressed properties to build the number of leads. Once he gets the property under contract, he can go to this private money lender he's built a relationship with and give them details about the deal. After he's done one deal and gets the loan from the bank, he can start looking for a second deal simply by repeating the same process again and again. Fred will probably need to spend somewhere in the ballpark of $200 to $500 per month in advertising in order to consistently have enough leads of potential sellers. So Jane, in scenario 2, like I said, she owns a couple rentals that were left to her by her parents. She may also need to spend some time becoming more educated with rental property investing. Once she has some basic knowledge, or if she already has basic knowledge, she needs to determine how much equity that she has in the 2 properties that were left to her by her parents. She may be able to refinance and pull out some cash to do a deal, either by getting a loan from a bank or by buying it 100% cash, then refinancing as described in Fred's scenario. Let's assume that Jane is able to refinance and pull out $40,000 cash from the 2 properties that she currently owns. I would suggest that Jane tries to find private money lenders just like Fred did and save that $40,000 she has as reserves for her soon-to-be 3rd property. She can dip into this cash to market just like Fred did, though. She too would be spending $200 to $500 per month in advertising, or she could spend more if she wanted to scale faster. If she wasn't really wanting to scale fast, she could just find one deal on the MLS or through marketing and use the cash that she has as a down payment. This would be a much slower way to scale as opposed to using private money lenders, but she may not want to scale quickly. Having access to more money gives Jane more options. Bill is a little more advanced in knowledge in scenario number 3, and he has more upfront capital than Fred and Jane do. Bill understands the basic concepts of investing, so he's ready to dive in without spending time gaining necessary knowledge. How fast does Bill want to scale? Does he want to do 10 deals in the next 12 months, or does he want to do 1 deal? If he wants to do 10, then he needs to follow the same path that Jane and Fred did. He should start building contacts of potential private money lenders and should start marketing to sellers of distressed properties. He'll probably be sending them postcards or letters to contact them. Bill has enough cash up front to where he can spend as much as $1,000 per month in marketing, so he can send a greater volume of postcards out. Assuming Bill is able to find a couple private money lenders, Bill can easily scale to 10 doors in a year and maybe more. If Bill just wants to do 1 deal, he may be able to go the more typical route of finding an inexpensive property on the MLS and financing upfront through a bank. Obviously, the more upfront capital you have, the more options you have, and the faster you can scale. The big 2 things that are required are deal flow, which is the number of leads and quality deals you have access to, and available cash, whether that be from your bank account or from friends, family, or colleagues through private money lending relationships. Both of these obstacles are very common for new investors, but don't let it hold you back from starting. I started in the spring of 2020 with only $3,500, and as of today, I own 262 units. I don't say this to pat myself on the back, but just know it's possible. If you're determined, if you're willing to invest the time to do the deals, you can get there. Thanks for listening, and I hope you gained value from these past few minutes and will continue to listen to our upcoming shows. If you'd like to take a deeper dive with me, visit begin210.com to see the coaching opportunities that I offer. I'm here to help you scale from being a beginner to closing 10 deals within the next 12 months. Have a great day.